it's just, it was a good, tough, gritty win, and now we got to move on to Wednesday.
On that point, were you on any level, given the foul trouble that you, Jalen, Kat, in particular, were you kind of surprised that they were launching as many as they were instead of attacking?
No, I mean they got. I don't know what the stats are for them, but I mean they got a bunch of guys that shoot, high 30s, 40s from three. They want, they're good shooters, and some of them were good looks. So I think y'all saw it took us a little while to figure out how this series is going to be. We got beat with bats for 6 games, so we brought our bats here, and then I was like, I don't know if we could have been as physical. So, it took us a little while to figure out how, the game was going to be called, but, that's a part of the playoffs, part of the game. You got to figure out by game, series by series, and like I said, it was a tough win, and happy we got it, but we got to move on.
Talk about overcoming missing 14 free throws, coming back double digits, the effort that it took.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't make it a free throw. I think I missed. I was 3 for 6. I was terrible. But yeah, like I said, it was just toughness, just grittiness. We have a tremendous amount of confidence for everyone that wears a Knicks jersey, and everyone came in and contributed and helped in a positive way.
Josh, what do you make of the way Mikal impacted the game, particularly late?
Yeah, I mean that's who Mikal is. He's got a lot of criticism, and he never lets that affect him. And I don't know how many games, down the stretch that he's won for us just on the defensive side alone. The Brooklyn game, the block. The Chicago game, we got a block at the end. Big game this time, couple, in the Detroit series. So he's been a huge part for this team. Sometimes those things get overlooked, and people just look at stats, and they lose sight of how valuable of a player that he is. And he went out there and shot wasn't falling, but he had a big 3 in the overtime. I think it was overtime. Plays that go overlooked. He had a back tip. I think that I think Jalen ended up missing the 3, broke jump shot. But it's plays like that where his motor is always goes. He's a winning player. He makes winning plays, and he should be celebrated for that.
Obviously, a big win. How important is it to get greedy and try to get this second?
It's not about being greedy. It's just about going out there and playing our game. We want to win every single game. I think that's every team wants to win every game. They don't want to lose. They don't want to come. They don't want to split. They don't want that. We want to win every game, and sometimes that's not realistic. But we got to make sure we go out there and compete at a high level. And if we do that, I got full confidence in this team. But like I said, today was great. But like I said, we got to move on, and they're coming off a loss, and they're gonna come back firing.
How does it build your confidence?
Jalen down the stretch, every game feels like a broken record.
Mm-hmm.
Game on the line, he's going to make some shots. What can you say about him that maybe you haven't said already?
That I haven't said. That he should have won it in regulation. But like I said, clutch player of the year for a reason. I'm not gonna lie, I was knew we were gonna play them, and I was looking forward to it because I mean Drew's one of the best defenders in the league, and he's gonna be matched up on him at late games, or if Cat has going, he'll probably get on Cat, and so that's our guy. So I was excited to see that matchup, and I think I got to do a little bit better job of screening and getting him open and letting him work with space. So that's something I gotta look at film on and get better at. But like I said, we're comfortable with him down, with the ball in his hand.
How does it build your confidence coming in here and getting this win?
I don't think it builds our confidence. I think we always have confidence. The season's peaks and valleys, and we always try to be even. If you get too high, you're going to get knocked down. If you get too low in this league, you're going to get buried. So, I think our confidence is always high. Like I said, we got a tremendous amount of trust in everybody in this locker room and with the coaching staff. So it was a tough, gritty win. Everyone played their part, and now we got to focus on Wednesday and figuring out how we can get another win.
You talk about the effort it took to come back and battle and fight in this game.
Yeah, I mean, again, keep putting ourselves in these type of games, but I think we've done a great job of just fighting and giving ourselves a chance to win, and just to put ourselves in a position where we could find a way to leave here tonight with a win is all it's about. So shout out to this team, the grittiness of this team, the resilience of this team to not let go of the rope in the third quarter.
Does this build confidence now coming in here, getting game one?
I mean, of course, winning a game makes you feel good, but just as quick as you win a game, you could lose the next one. And if anything, we've shown y'all that in the Pistons series. So we just got to, enjoy this one tonight. But tomorrow we got to get right back to business. This team is special, obviously defending champions, and they're going to come back hungrier and even execute at a higher level.
What do you guys want to do defensively when you're down 20? They got up 63 in this game. They're looking to force them to settle for quite a few.
Just, I thought we did a good job of, like you said, we got some shots were lucky. They missed some threes. I think we all know they make, and we were able to convert those to points. So we did a good job of just getting some fast break points and getting some of the pace back in our offense.
And how did you handle the foul trouble you were in early into that second half?
Just a different physicality than the Detroit series. So we got to adjust. I got to adjust especially.
How much did the last series, the grittiness, help you out tonight with the play-up intensity, the atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, we keep finding ourselves, positioning ourselves in the game to be in these kind of games. So, it is what it is. But we've done a great job all year in the last series of just putting ourselves in a position to have a chance to win. And we did that tonight, and we just found a way. Shout out to our team.
How about your team defense tonight, especially in that fourth quarter?
I mean, in overtime, we did a great job of not only getting stops, but closing out the possession with a rebound and getting steals. And, of course, at the end, Mikal Bridges, does what he does best. And, after we play 50-plus minutes, he finds a way to have enough energy to kind of make that play. So this team, man, they showed up when we all showed up when we really needed to, and that's kind of been our MO.
When you get a few stops, when you start to feel that toughness, that physicality take hold, does that build momentum for you on the defensive side? You start to feel it the way you would on the offensive side, hitting
I think, sometimes, offense is just, it's not clicking, and that's just how the game plays out sometimes, but we always control our effort on the defensive end. And, I think for all of us, including myself, things may not have been going the best in the second half, but we did a great job of putting the effort in to give ourselves a chance to win by on the defensive end, finding ways to get stops, get the rebounds, apply the pressure needed to give ourselves a chance to win.
There was a lot of adversity. Obviously, you're down double digits. You missed 14 free throws in the game. What kept you guys together?
Each other in this locker room. This is a close-knit group, and we know we all we got. So at the end of the day, regardless of how the game is playing out, we're playing for each other. We're playing for the brother to the left and to the right. So we're going to leave everything we have on the court and give our best effort. And some days it won't be enough, but we know when we come back in this locker room, we can look at each other and know we gave everything we had that night.
A couple more guys. You obviously had foul trouble. I think Jalen had 3 and Josh had 2 in the first few minutes. Were you surprised on any level that, given the fact that they could attack you, they could use that as a means to get to the line, that they took so many threes? And I think they took 20 threes in the third.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, they've won how many games this year playing their game? That's Boston Celtics basketball. They're going to shoot threes, and they give them credit. They've been successful all year playing their game, and at the same time, I think it's right to give us credit that we made it at least difficult for them to shoot those shots, and we have to find a way to make them miss. They just don't miss, by themselves. We all know that. We have to do our job too. So, it's a great team effort to at least apply the pressure and make them have to have a chance to miss instead of giving them wide open threes, which I think we all know in the NBA they're one of the best three-point shooting teams ever assembled.
Brown and Tatum are always trying to cross-match on in crunch time. They're trying to draw two so they can get those kick-arounds, but you guys have so much defensive length kind of around the perimeter. Just how are you able to take away those kind of extra pass threes?
Just belief in each other. We understood the magnitude and the skill set that they both have, and the talent they possess, you know, and we had to have faith in each other that when we get in those matchups, you know, that we could, get the stop when it's needed and trust each other to make the shot difficult for them. You know, they're such great players. I don't think any of us thinks we make them miss every shot, but you just make it difficult for them to get a good look. And I think we did a great job of that tonight. You know, but they're gonna get their points. They're gonna do what they do. You know, but we have to do our job as making it as difficult as possible for them.